So, I went from an average or even below average student to the top of my entire school in just 1 year, and I'll tell you how to do the same. So, let me tell you one thing. I am like most teachers that I have or had consider me as a torture or as a person who has so many doubts that it's annoying for them. Like, you can believe me if I say that I know more about doubts than you do or anyone else, because I have asked so many doubts, so many, that the number maybe exceeds over 300 or even 500. Okay? And based on all this, I can tell you one thing. Teachers, the teachers who say they would like to have kids who have doubts, or the students who have doubts, they can ask them. I can tell you, honestly, no teacher likes doubts. The reason is simple. If you apply basic logic, you'll realize that no one wants to be wrong, right? Imagine you are a teacher and some kid who is 20 or even 25 years younger than you asks you a question about your specific subject that you do not know the answer to. What will you do? You'll be annoyed by it, you'll be angry. Even if you do not show it, even if you say that, okay, I don't know, I'll tell you later, you'll be angry that why don't I know the answer? And if you know the answer, then that's a different story. But most doubts, like for most doubts, teachers do not know the answer. So my thing is simple. Teachers do not like doubts. And if you have to ask something to the teacher, then ask when teachers are the last resort. If you have a tuition or things like that, then you can ask them doubts, but after you have tried my strategy of answering your questions. So the thing that we start with, what to not ask as doubts. Okay, this is a very short list of things that you should not ask as doubts. First is basic concepts. Like if a chapter is built on a concept, you cannot ask it as a doubt, right? For example, the chapter is kinesthetics or motion. You cannot ask what is velocity. That's like a complete nonsensical doubt. Second, doubt about historical facts or basic facts. Like you cannot ask why was Europe called Europe, or why is the sea made of water. You cannot ask these kind of questions because these are objective facts and no one can change them. Now, here the list ends. And besides all these two things, everything else you can ask as a doubt. Now, what I'd say is the first thing that you should be asking as a doubt is, why do you want to ask doubts? Like, okay, this is not a doubt but a question, but why do you want to ask doubts? You want to ask doubts to answer your question, not to degrade anyone, not to show that the teacher does not know the answer, not to show that you know better, not to show that you have studied the chapter, but rather to get the answer. As you are reading a chapter, you'll realize that I have some questions about it that I don't know the answer to, right? Like you are reading, let's say, 2 pages of a chapter. Will you actually have anything, like any scenario, will there be a case when you never actually have a question and you understand everything? Some people might say yes, but if you understand it deeply and if you try to apply logic, try to apply reasoning to it, then there will be a lot of things that you don't understand. So to counter this, to actually understand what you're saying, what the chapter is saying, the best thing is to use your phone. Okay, now people might say that of course you can use the internet, but my point is that people, like, you just know that you can use your phone, but you never do that. Your phone, or let me go specifically to ChatGPT or AI. AI is literally a thing that can answer your questions, answer anything, any question that you have related to any subject in just seconds. Like you just have to ask it. It can explain you as many times as you want and as simply as you want, just as you have to ask it. So why don't you ask it? That's the question. And if you ask it, then if you do not get a satisfactory response, then you can move to other options that we'll discuss later. But my current stand is that most doubts ChatGPT can handle on its own. Because I, as a person, have a lot of doubts, and I ask ChatGPT. It tells me a lot of times weird answers like this, that I don't understand. And various times it gives me answers that are basically incorrect, and I know that. So the thing is that you can ask ChatGPT. but you gotta double check your doubts, right? So let's say you ask, what is the capital of France? ChatGPT say, let's say Germany. Okay, of course you know that's wrong. But if there is a more subtle thing, like let's say it says Berlin, you have to fact check it. My first option is you have to fact check it if you cannot instantly tell and you are having kind of a suspicion that it might be wrong. Second thing is, after you have asked ChatGPT and if it has given you a correct answer, then just move on. You do not have to talk to it all day, all night about that doubt. And before asking ChatGPT, you have to remember two things. First, you have to say to it, do not ask me any questions at the end of your response. This is an important thing because ChatGPT has been coded by OpenAI to at the end ask questions. For example, the question, like you ask a question, what is the French Revolution? Okay, it will give you the answer. Then it will ask you at the end, by the way, why are you studying the French Revolution? Okay, let's take another example. You ask, what is the square root of 2 and how is it approximated? Okay, now it will give you the answer. Then at the end it will ask, by the way, why do you want to know what is the square root of 2, or are you interested in this kind of things? So ChatGPT is coded like this because like OpenAI of course wants people to talk to it, and ChatGPT can handle the conversation if it keeps asking questions. You have to stop this because then you will just start having a conversation with it rather than asking your doubts and clarifying your questions, right? Another thing is, you have to mention to it, if you do not know something, if you are unaware about it, or if you are unsure about it, then you have to tell me. You cannot just simply throw us some random shit if you do not know the answer and expect me to be fine. You have to tell me if you are incorrect, if you do not know, or things like that. And ChatGPT mostly follows that. And after these two prompts, you have to write, remember this, so that it keeps it in his memory and it can like toggle it on and off throughout all the conversations that you will have on this account. Now, after these two things are out of the way, next thing is my program. You can join my program. It's a very cheap course that you can buy and the price is very low, and it will give you a lot of advantage in studying. It will allow you to study efficiently and effectively. You can buy it right now. It's a pre-sale, and as I'm done making it, the prices will increase to $99. So if you can, then you should buy it. I highly recommend it to improve your studying. Now let's move on to a common thing that people have. What if my doubt is irrelevant? What if my doubt is, let's say, I don't know, maybe my doubt is like incorrect or nonsensical? My answer to that is, if the doubt does not fall into the two conditions I mentioned. First is that the doubt is, of course, it is like based on basic concepts. Second, the doubt is an objective fact. If these two conditions are not there, then your doubt is 100% correct. No matter what someone says, I assure you, your doubt is correct, and you can ask it to anyone like ChatGPT or things like that. Now, let's move on to a thing that if ChatGPT provides the wrong answer, what do you do? If ChatGPT does this, you simply go to the internet and ask the question to the internet or Google, Edge, whatever, right? Now, I do not recommend going to the internet because it's kind of, you cannot get specific answer to the question. You ask a very specific question, but you will get a vague answer, or you will not get an answer at all. Maybe you ask what is the French Revolution, and it will provide you a 100-page document about why was the French Revolution. You have to find the answer yourself. That's why I keep it as a second resort. Now, if you do not find the answer on the internet too, then the third resort is creating a doubt sheet. A doubt sheet is nothing but writing doubts on a sheet of paper, and then actually understanding the doubts and then asking your teacher about it, or anyone that you trust that can answer a doubt. But most of the time, I should tell you, teachers do not know the answer to doubt. If the doubt is very detailed, most teachers do not know the answer to that, and they'll say some random things like, oh, this, that, whatever, and just leave you hanging. Okay? So that's why I say to keep it as a third resort if no one can tell you the answer. Now I'll show you my doubt sheet. My doubt sheet is this. You can see that there are so many papers that I could not even count, and more doubts than that. See, and most people, I did not just create it right now. These are a whole year worth of doubts. and I created them as I was studying a chapter. I'm studying, then I want to ask a question. I ask ChatGPT, he does not know the answer. Then I go on the internet or YouTube, there is no answer. Then I ask these questions. So there are actually hundreds or even thousands of doubts that I asked to ChatGPT, and combining them with these leads to around, I don't know, maybe 2000 or 3000 doubts. You can just imagine how much doubts I have asked, and that's why I am telling you, no teacher wants you to ask doubts actually, and no teacher fully knows the answer to every doubt. You literally have a tool that can give you answer to everything that you might want, but what you're doing with it, you're playing some role plays with it or things like that. Of course, that's useless. Now, another thing that I want for you is to not be embarrassed when children laugh at you or kids laugh at you. Okay, so when I asked doubts, kids would laugh at me. They would laugh like, why is the person asking so many doubts? Teacher would say, are you stupid? Why are you asking so many doubts? Like, I have literally been called stupid so many times that I cannot even remember how many times. Teachers literally call me stupid, dumb, that I don't know the answer to the question. But I still ask them. Because, when I get better grades than those students, when I am the highest scoring student of that teacher's class, they understand why I was asking those doubts. The reason is, you might have doubts. Teachers might call you dumb, they might get annoyed, kids might laugh at you, your peers or classmates might make fun of you. But no one can make fun of 100%. No one can make fun of you when you receive the highest score that was possible on the exam. People only respect it. In movies, it might show that the jock or the bully is laughing at the nerd. But actually, people respect the person who has high grades, who has what they want to achieve. That's what I wanted to tell you in the video. And if you want to get higher efficiency in your studying, in your grades, then you can join the program. Link is in the description. It's a pre-sale, and if you join it right now, you get a lot higher discount. So I'll see you in the next video. Till then, see ya. And watch my previous video for more information about learning and studies. Okay, work like a dog, live like a lion.